Islamic history is one of the most transformative and influential narratives in the world. From the humble beginnings of a small community in Arabia to the rise of vast empires stretching across 3 continents, the medieval Islamic world witnessed moments of incredible unity, intellectual brilliance, military conquest, and cultural flourishing. In this video, we'll explore this journey, following the footsteps of prophets, caliphs, sultans, and scholars, delving into the most pivotal moments in Islamic history. Our story begins over 1,400 years ago in the Arabian Peninsula, a vast desert landscape inhabited by fiercely independent tribes. In the midst of this arid environment stood the ancient city of Mecca, a bustling trading center where caravans passed through, bringing goods from distant lands. Yet Mecca was more than just a hub of commerce. It was also a religious sanctuary, home to the sacred Kaaba, a site revered by the many polytheistic tribes of Arabia. It was in this very city that a man was born who would forever change the course of history. If you're captivated by stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Perspectives for more epic tales of history's greatest figures and moments. Hit the bell icon to never miss an adventure into the past. Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him. Born around the year 570 CE into the respected Quraysh tribe, Muhammad was orphaned at a young age and raised by his grandfather and uncle. Known for his honesty and trustworthiness, he earned the nickname Al-Amin, meaning the trustworthy, and eventually became a successful merchant. His life seemed relatively ordinary, yet his character and contemplative nature would soon lead him down an extraordinary path. By the age of 40, he had developed a habit of retreating to the nearby cave of Hira, a small, secluded cave in the mountains outside of Mecca. Here he would spend long hours in reflection, meditating on the injustices he saw around him: tribal warfare, inequality, the worship of numerous idols, and the exploitation of the weak by the powerful. It was during one of these retreats, in the year 610 CE, that the course of his life and human history changed forever. In the stillness of the cave, Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced a profound spiritual moment. As he later described, the angel Gabriel, also known as Jibril, appeared before him, commanding him to recite. Overwhelmed and terrified, Muhammad initially resisted, but Gabriel repeated the command, urging him to recite in the name of the Lord, who created all things. This was the first of many revelations Muhammad would receive, revelations that would form the basis of the Quran, the holy book of Islam. Shaken by this divine encounter, Muhammad returned to his wife, Khadija, and confided in her about what had transpired. Khadija, his closest confidant and supporter, reassured him that he was chosen for a great purpose, and she was the first to embrace the message of Islam. As he began to share the revelations with those closest to him, a small group of followers grew, including his young cousin Ali, his friend Abu Bakr, and the former slave Zayd. These early Muslims would form the core of the nascent Islamic community. But the message Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, preached, monotheism, social justice, and the rejection of the traditional Meccan idols, was radical, and it quickly drew the ire of the city's ruling elite. The Quraysh leaders, whose wealth and power depended on the pilgrimage economy centered around the Kaaba's idols, saw Muhammad as a threat. They ridiculed him, attempted to bribe him, and eventually resorted to persecuting his followers. The situation became so dire that Muhammad, peace be upon him, advised some of his followers to seek refuge in the Christian kingdom of Abyssinia, modern-day Ethiopia, where they were given protection by the just ruler, King Negus. This was the first of many signs that Islam's message would transcend borders and bring together diverse peoples. Back in Mecca, the hostility grew, and life became increasingly dangerous for Prophet Muhammad and his followers. In 622 CE, after over a decade of preaching amidst growing opposition, Muhammad made the fateful decision to leave his hometown. This event, known as the Hijrah, or migration, marked a turning point. Muhammad and his followers fled to the city of Yathrib, later known as Medina, where they were invited to mediate disputes between the city's feuding tribes and to establish a new kind of community, one based on justice, mutual respect, and submission to the will of Allah. The Hijrah not only marked the beginning of the Islamic calendar, but also the birth of the first truly Islamic state. In Medina, Prophet Muhammad became not only a spiritual leader, but also a statesman and military commander. The constitution of Medina was drafted, creating a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society where Muslims, Jews, and pagans lived together under a framework of mutual respect and protection. This innovative political structure laid the foundation for what would become a vast and diverse empire in the centuries to come. However, the peace would not last long. The Quraysh in Mecca saw Muhammad's growing influence in Medina as a direct threat to their dominance. Several battles ensued between the Meccan forces and the fledgling Muslim community. The most famous of these early battles was the Battle of Badr in 624 CE, where despite being vastly outnumbered, the Muslims achieved a stunning victory. This event further solidified Prophet Muhammad's position as a leader and strengthened the resolve of the Muslim community. The conflict between the Muslims and the Quraysh continued, with notable skirmishes such as the Battle of Uhud and the Battle of the Trench, until finally, in 630 CE, Prophet Muhammad led a peaceful yet decisive conquest of Mecca. Upon entering the city, he went straight to the Kaaba, where he famously destroyed the idols that had been worshipped for centuries, declaring the oneness of Allah. With the conquest of Mecca, Muhammad's mission was nearly complete. By the time of his death in 632 CE, most of the Arabian Peninsula had embraced Islam. But the question of leadership would soon arise. Who would carry on the Prophet's mission? His death left the community at a crossroads, marking the end of the era of prophecy and the beginning of the Islamic Caliphate. If you're captivated by stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Perspectives for more epic tales of history's greatest figures and moments. Hit the bell icon to never miss an adventure into the past.